So, you're getting ready to build that dream deck. You've got it all pictured, the beautiful composite boards, the sleek railings. But hold on, have you thought about what's actually holding it all up? Yeah, there's a hidden flaw in a ton of deck projects that can seriously undermine your entire investment. Today, we're going to dig into what that is and, more importantly, how you can avoid it.
All right, here's the plan. First, we're going to expose that all-too-common problem with standard deck framing. Then, we'll introduce the solution, which is a special type of wood called KDAT lumber. We'll get into what makes a certain kind of KDAT superior, break down all the key advantages, and wrap up by showing you how knowing all this lets you build with absolute confidence.
So, let's jump right in with that hidden problem. Because, it doesn't matter how amazing your deck looks on the surface. Its real strength, the thing that makes it last, is the foundation holding it all together underneath.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You're shelling out good money for decking material that has a warranty for 25, 30, sometimes even 40 years. But what's the point of all that if the structure underneath it starts to warp, twist, and basically give up in just a few years?
And listen, this isn't just me talking. It's a huge concern for the pros in the industry. This quote really nails the problem. People are building these incredible, long-lasting decks on top of wet framing that, well, just isn't going to stay straight. All that moisture is just a recipe for future headaches. And here's what actually happens. As that wet pressure-treated lumber dries out after your deck is already built, it starts to move. It can crown, creating a wavy, uneven surface. It shrinks and twists, which puts a ton of stress on your screws and can lead to ugly gaps. Worst case scenario, it can actually pull the entire deck away from your house. Oh, and on top of all that, it's just incredibly heavy and a pain to work with during the build.
Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a pretty big one. But the good news is, there's a really simple solution to all of this. It's called KDAT lumber.
So, what is KDAT? It stands for Kiln Dried After Treatment. And the process is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. First, the wood gets its normal pressure treatment with all the preservatives. But then, and this is the crucial part, it's put into a giant oven, a kiln, to dry it all out before it ever gets to your house. This one extra step basically pre-shrinks the wood, making it way more stable.
But here's where it gets interesting. It turns out not all KDAT lumber is the same. Just kiln drying the wood is a fantastic start, but some folks take it to a whole other level to guarantee you're getting a premium product. Let's look at what makes this specific type of KDAT so superior.
The whole philosophy here is that just drying the wood isn't quite enough to promise quality. If you want a product that's truly predictable and high performance, you've got to control the entire process, from picking the right trees all the way to the final inspection.
And this is that process in a nutshell. First, they start with way better wood. We're talking high-grade lumber with minimal wane, those bark-covered, rounded edges you sometimes see. Second, they use a patented computer system that grades every single board for consistency. And third, and honestly, this is a total game changer for builders, they stamp each board with a little arrow.
And that is the genius of it. That simple little arrow tells the builder exactly which way the board has a natural slight curve or crown. So by installing every single joist with that arrow pointing up, you create a perfectly level, incredibly strong frame. It just takes all the guesswork out of the equation. It's such a small feature, but it has a massive impact on the quality of the final deck.
So let's bring this all back to reality. What does this fancy process actually mean for you when you're out there building your deck? What are the real-world advantages?
Well, the benefits line up perfectly to solve all those problems we talked about with wet lumber. You get way less crowning and shrinking. The joists stay straight so they don't pull away from your house. The lumber's a lot lighter, which makes the whole build safer and easier for the crew, and it's even backed by a warranty, which gives you that extra peace of mind.
And hey, do not underestimate that weight difference. Anyone who's ever had to lug heavy, waterlogged boards around a job site knows exactly what I'm talking about. Lighter wood means you're less tired, it's easier to make cuts, and the whole installation is just faster and safer. It's a huge deal.
So, when you put it all together, it leads to one critical outcome. You get to build with confidence. You can be sure that you're protecting both your time and the hard-earned money you've invested in your beautiful new deck. Okay, let's do a quick recap of the most important takeaways here. Number 1, your deck's foundation is every bit as important as the pretty boards you walk on. Number 2, standard wet lumber is just naturally unstable. 3, KDAT is the answer because it's dried before you build with it. And 4, for the absolute best results, look for smart features like that crown arrow stamp. It'll help you guarantee a perfect frame every single time.
So,
The next time you're dreaming up that perfect outdoor oasis, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Is the foundation you're planning really as strong as the beautiful finish you're putting on top? Because with the right materials, you can make darn sure that it is.